traffic controllers throw their support behind customs and immigration workers, and aviation could be impacted.
Also ahead, find out the next step in putting out the dump fire.
And stingrays celebrate a first. We'll explain. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Air traffic controllers place their support behind customs and immigration officers as they contemplate strike action. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keish Latterly.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us. Members of the Air Traffic Controllers Union say they are joining the fight as part of their agreement under the National Trade Union Congress, which could place the aviation sector in jeopardy. Tonight, Janae Noel Ferguson explores this developing story.
Members of the Air Traffic Controllers Union are pledging their support of the customs and immigration workers who voted last Friday in favor of a strike.
We will support the Customs and Immigration Union in any legal activity that they take. And at this point, I think that they have taken sufficient steps to ensure that any activity that they will take in the future is in line with the laws and basically their right to do so.
Air Traffic Controllers Union President Roscoe Papal says he takes issue with comments attributed to Labor Minister Shane Gibson and says his union is not currently on work to rule.
We had a significant increase in traffic, and I think we moved that traffic pretty successfully, bearing in mind all of the limitations at the airport. I don't think there was no one that could legitimately complain that they did not get first class service at the airport over this weekend. The minister also threatened the union that he will cut their pay, and I think that is not the best position. If the union is entitled to have a legal strike, then I believe as the number one employer in this country, the government ought to honor the strike vote and its process.
Minister of Transport and Aviation Glenys Hannah Martin says while she understands that air traffic controllers might want to show their solidarity to those customs and immigration workers, she said that any disturbance in the aviation sector at this time could be crucial.
Air traffic services is an essential service. It is key to our economy. We are trying to make a comeback from a very, very difficult, prolonged economic blight on our country, which has impacted a lot of people and led to a lot of breakdown in a lot of places and a variety of ways. And so we would trust that that's whatever solidarity that the union seeks to offer, that it will not impact the well-being of the Bahamian people and the health of our economy.
Now, Alma Wims, trustee of the Customs Union, say they anticipate the minister signing that strike vote certificate before making their next move.
Once we get that strike certificate, we now wait on the Ministry of Labor to follow due process, and once that is done, whether we're going to use it another week, another month, who knows, but the strike certificate is good for 1 year. And we have no desire to use the strike certificate, but I can guarantee you if it becomes necessary, we will use that strike certificate to get the government's attention.
Now, customs officers have been working 9 to 5 shifts since Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder recently ruled that the government was not obligated to seek the union's approval before implementing a shift system in 2010. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Today, the Customs and Immigration Officers Union appealed the High Court's decision, which sided with government with regards to the new shift system. Back on March 7th, Justice Ian Winder ruled that government was not obligated to seek the union's approval before implementing a shift system in 2010. And now the union is questioning the registration of the industrial agreement, which established the shift system, claiming the agreement was not a part of the trial Meantime, customs and immigration officers are still on work to rule. But another twist unfolded today in the standoff between the government and the union. It turns out the labor minister won't be signing off on any strike certificate soon. He says he won't be threatened by the union's tactics. And hoping to avert any industrial action, the minister took this course of action.
I don't know how the strike will take place in any case, because today I referred the matter to the Industrial Tribunal. Once a matter is referred to the Industrial Tribunal, then all industrial action must cease. So even though they took a strike vote on Friday, it is of no effect, because I referred the matter today.
And Labour Minister Shane Gibson says he's open to dialogue with the union to resolve the outstanding matters, but he won't be bullied. In fact, Minister Gibson has gone on record to say that those officers who were not working their assigned shifts will face the consequences, making it clear that they will be cut.
So for those officers who showed up at 9 when they were supposed to show up at 4, you didn't work. You could stay on the job all day. As far as we're concerned, you didn't work because you didn't show up for your 4 o'clock shift. Because the point is, if you didn't work, you cannot expect to be paid. And then what am I saying to the thousands of workers who actually showed up and worked? And so they have a membership of 1,058. They had less than 200 participated in the strike vote. What does that tell you? You think they have support?
And Minister Gibson also defended government against arguments that it hasn't been labor-friendly. He noted that government has been able to successfully conclude all of its negotiations with 11 of 12 unions.
The only one outstanding is Customs and Immigration, because they are being unreasonable. All air traffic controllers, Nassau Flight Services, the Bridge Authority, the Airport Authority, the Hospital Authority, the doctors, the nurses, BUT, BPSU, all of those we settled. The only one outstanding is Customs and Immigration. What does that tell you? You think we're being unreasonable, or they are? All we say to them is the country is experiencing financial difficulties at this time. You have to be responsible in what you're asking for and what you expect to get.
In other news this evening, National Overseer of the Church of God of Prophecy, Bishop Franklin Ferguson, speaking out on the gambling issue at the church's conclave last evening. Ferguson noted that the church does not support it.
Regardless of the name, the color, or the amount of money that's being given to charity, sports, and education, this country can never, and this church in particular, cannot support gambling in any form.
Well, Prime Minister Perry Christie attended that closing service of the Church of God of Prophecy's conclave. As Fern Carey tells us, the nation's leader used the opportunity to address 2 issues of national concern.
Prime Minister Perry Christie commenting on what he called the culture of killing in the country, noting that while all residents have a role to play in curbing crime, parents have an even greater responsibility. His comments come as police investigate the deaths of 2 young men killed over the weekend in 2 separate shooting incidents.
Not compromise on our efforts to ensure that we take all of the steps possible to protect the safety and security of the people of this country. And you as parents, maybe not in this church, but those who are listening to me, some of you know the challenges you face from young children or young people in your home. For God's sake, if you can't overcome that yourself, come to us and let us know that you need help. But do not walk around knowing that your children are up to mischief which could go as far as causing the death of other people.
And with ongoing public concern about the government's proposed value-added tax, or VAT, Prime Minister Christie assured that those concerns are being considered.
Weeks and months, you will see me as the Prime Minister speaking to the economic health of the country. We're not there. And people have been deeply concerned about taxation. But remember this, I want the same kind of country that you want. And I'm not going to impose on you. You know, the Lord said he will never put on you more than you could bear. Well, you take this to the bank. Your Prime Minister is not going to put on you more than you can bear.
The Prime Minister's comments came during the Church of God of Prophecy's annual convention. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Well, still ahead tonight, what's the next step in putting out that fire at the dump? Find out next.
and a new home for the Industrial Tribunal. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.